Okay, good morning everybody. Here's what's up. Today I believe is the 11th. Double check that so I don't clarify. 13th, sorry. You have to forgive me for not knowing the date. I'll explain in a second. As you can see in my face, I've lost weight again from my surgery. So, well, here's what happened over the last almost 2 weeks. February 28th, scheduled to go in to do my reversal surgery, which was remove my ostomy bag and reconnect my plumbing and have a false colon that was already built reattached to the rest of my system. So that went well initially. Went in, no problem. Piece of cake, woke up, a lot of pain. A lot more painful the second surgery, which I was told it was going to be, than the first surgery. They were giving me Dilaudid every half an hour in the recovery room until it balanced out. And it never really went away. It just was a stinging pain, constant. It was bad. But surgery was like an hour and a half, hour and 40, I was told. So it wasn't too bad. So I get back in the room. Everything seems to be okay, and here's what to expect, and yada yada yada, and all that other happy stuff what they want me to do. And so first day is liquid diet only. So I got some chicken broth that night, and that's basically it. Chicken broth. That's all they want you to do, which was fine. Granted, I was starving to a degree. I wasn't like super hungry because of the trauma of the surgery. So day 2, a lot of pain. Something's not right. I don't know what to expect, but at the same time, didn't expect this. Day 3, no change. Not getting better. Going to the bathroom, I'm having, craps out of my bowels, but they're very loose, very, very liquidy. Not to be graphic, but this is called life. We're talking about life here. So, but there was a lot of problems, a lot of bloating in my gut, because the second day he told me to go on solid foods, start solid foods. So, I asked him what. I told him what I was going to order. Not a problem. I had roast beef with mashed potatoes. Chopped it up fine, chewed it fine. Shouldn't have been a problem going through. Didn't feel no issues. That evening I had the turkey breast. Chopped it up, mashed potatoes. I didn't eat all of it. I didn't eat either one of them. I didn't eat all of it. So that night, on the second night, 2:30 in the morning, so you're talking 5-6 hours from supper and 9 hours from lunch. It was all still in my stomach. I threw that all back up, violently threw that all back up. So it was a setback to a degree. They said that's expected sometimes. Okay, so third day. Not any better, stay back on a liquid diet. The days kind of meld into each other, so forgive me if I'm not in order. So they decide to, the one night I wake up very bloated, and just out of nowhere I start throwing up dark black liquid, and it wasn't nauseous. No, I wasn't nauseous. It just came up. So they decide they're putting an NG tube in my body, which is a tube they stick up your nose, down to the back of your throat, into your stomach. Let me just say, the most horrific, mentally exhausting, challenging, painful things I've ever done in my life. It was rough. Looking back and thinking about it, it really gets me because it was really rough. They had that tube in for 37 hours, and I didn't sleep one wink. I pretty much sat up with my hands clenched in white knuckles on the side of the beds for 37 hours while they kept that machine running until it became less dark. It was more clear, because every time I would doze off for a minute, the tube would move and hit my gag reflex, and it would be violently throwing up, and it would hurt. It hurt the back of my throat. It was the most horrific thing I've ever done in my life. I had to get done. It was so horrible. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. I mean, it was the worst. The day they took it out, John, nurse, took it out. He was my hero that day because he pushed the issue. Because I begged and begged and begged to get that thing out of me. That was very painful, getting that pulled out. And when that got pulled out, I cried. I cried in relief that I could sleep. I cried in relief that it was out. It was rough. I mean, it was rough. I can't even tell you how rough it was. So, I mean, it's something I would never want anyone to go through. So, sorry if I'm getting emotional. I shouldn't be making a video here. I'm trying to be, I'm just explaining what's going on. So, forgive me for that. I mean, regain my composure. So, it was terrible. No doubt. Never again. I told the doctor, I said, if you even think about putting that back in me again, you better cut me open first and find out what's going on inside me. So, the next day they had ordered a bariatric survey of some kind, CT scan thing, I guess it was a CT scan. I had to drink this clear liquids. They gave me 3 bottles of this. It was like an old time medicine bottles. They wanted me to drink this. It tastes like water, but I couldn't drink more than 1.5. It was one of those. My stomach was so sore. Everything. Any more I was drinking, I told them if I drink any more of this, I said I'll be throwing up and this scan won't work. So they called down the CT and they said that's fine. You drank plenty. So I get down there. They scan me. Come back up to the room. Very unclear results. They really couldn't see what was going on. So the next morning they had ordered a bariatric procedure to put some kind of substrate up the other end to see if they could see something there. So I guess after a few times of thinking about it, they decided, no, we're not doing that. So they decided to do the surgery and see what was going on. Thank God. They should have done it earlier. What happened was, when they attached, do you think this is my small intestine, this is my small intestine? Let's say this is the one that comes out to my butt. This is the one that comes out to the ileostomy bag, that ostomy bag. Once they push this one back in, this is down here, they sew these two together, okay, like this. And the space between here is cut, and the space on top here is sewn together. So it becomes a loop where it's like, that's the traveling, that's the point of where it goes through now. So what happened was, if you figure this finger right here, okay, you can't do it very well, is my gallbladder. When I got sewed back up, it laid over and stuck to my gallbladder. And initially, let's say this is it here, and this is my gallbladder. It laid over and stuck to my gallbladder like this. Okay, essentially pinching it off right here. Not completely, but enough to cause a hernia type pinch. So I was still going to the bathroom through what was letting me, but it wasn't. It couldn't. This wasn't moving stuff fast enough through that area in order for this stuff in my stomach to get through quick enough. So it was backing up my small intestines because it was a clog initially. That's why I was throwing everything back up again. Okay, forgive me if I have a hard time looking at the camera and explaining, because I'm trying to look at the screen to make sure I'm doing it right. So that's what happened. My small intestine laid over just because of gravity, and actually stuck to my gallbladder. Like they said it adhered to it like glue. So he had to physically push, and then pop it off, And thank God, he said he almost had to remove my gallbladder because of the situation, but he didn't have to. So, so essentially, what they did was they went into the same position, in the same incision, twice. So, very, very painful. I mean, my incision is very sore, very sore. And I was in the hospital for 11 days. I was supposed to be in for 3. So I had a lot of setbacks, and very emotional, very scary. Um, this is very trying time for my wife, for my son, for my parents, for me, and I try not to think of anybody, I think of myself very much in this situation. I was worried about my wife, but she's a trooper. But I tell you, I was done. I was done. I wanted out of there so bad. I was ready just to jailbreak. So Saturday morning, it was Friday. Friday was an option because surgery was on Wednesday night. But a doctor came in on Friday morning and he said, "We'll try it. We'll see how it goes today. Maybe we'll send you home this afternoon." This was on Friday, and so he didn't. It didn't work out. I had a lot of, he called it visceral pain, because it was still, my system was still waking up. It wasn't moving as quickly, because your intestines, they flex. They move your food through your bowels and they flex. Okay, so it was getting to that point where it was sewn together and it was slowing down. It was just not moving as fast as the rest. Okay, so he had to wait for it to continue. So it's still not fully functioning at this point. It may be on its way. So, that being said, Friday came and went. Very upset that day. Friday night, the nursing staff, I can't say enough about them. Great. Jessica, Jen, Liz, John, the nurses' aides, all of them, they were fantastic. But Jen took care of me Friday. She left me alone and let me sleep because she saw how exhausted I was. It was just, you get to the point where there were days, there was a stretch where I slept 7 hours in 6 days, and there was that 37-hour stretch I didn't sleep a wink. It takes its toll on you emotionally, mentally, and you try to sleep after that. Sometimes you can't because your brain is just on overload. So it was a very emotional time for me, and I'm still dealing with that emotions of that. It's, as you can tell, I'm a very emotional guy, but that took its toll on me, and I'm sure it added more gray hairs than I already have. So, but it is what it is. But Saturday morning came, and I'm getting impatient. I had some breakfast there, and it was still and is still to a degree painful when it goes through that area they fixed. It's still when it moves through that point. I feel it yet. It hurts, So it's not as bad as it did the first couple of days after the second surgery, but it's getting there. So I will be, in all accounts, normal again in the next few weeks, and living a normal existence. My body will adjust. It already has, because my stools are starting to form, which is fantastic. It's something that you can celebrate as a guy going through this. People have to go, if they understand that celebration of that. So, but they talk about things like butt burn and things like that, and it's true. When you're going 15, 20, 30 times a day till your body adjusts, you're essentially crapping out stomach acid. And when you do that many times, it burns like someone's got a flamethrower to you. So there's things you can do to, combat that. And this girl I was watching on YouTube that had it done, she had this balm stuff that she had gotten that works fantastic. I just got done ordering it actually, and I'm going to take care of that stuff. And and that's when when you have flare-ups or when you get pouchitis or something, which I'm hopefully can avoid that, which is basically when it becomes kind of infected, your pouch, your false colon, but I'm going to try to avoid that. by eating properly. I'm not saying I'm going to avoid things that I love, which I'm not. I'm going to slowly introduce things into my diet that I love to eat. And that's the key. Slowly. Eat it. Wait. See how you react. Okay, you're in the clear. Check that off the list. Pizza. Okay, we'll try pizza, cheese pizza. See how that works. Because I was very lactose intolerant. Not a lot, but pretty much when I had colitis. So, it's not going to take that away, but it's going to reduce it a lot. So I got to try certain things in moderation, small little meals throughout the day, just to keep myself moving and need the calorie intake and the nutritional intake and take my vitamins and, just it's a lifestyle change, which I'm no problem getting used to. When you go through an experience like I did, it changes you as a person. It does. It makes you appreciate things a little bit more, actually a lot more. So, I appreciate my wife more than I ever have. I love her more than I ever have. So, and you realize things in life that you need to really hold on to, and keep close. And my parents are great. We're great this whole time. So it's been tough, but I hate to get emotional again. But normally I'm not this bad. But it's when you go through that, it takes a couple notches out of your belt, and until you build that, back up again, you're very emotional. So, where was I? Anyway, appointment next Monday to get the staples taken out, because they had to go in the second time laparoscopically, again 3 spots, which those are okay. It's the big incision that hurts like crazy, because obviously they cut me twice there, so it's a little distended right at that spot. Otherwise, I'm feeling better today than yesterday. But being home is such a relief. I mean, you have no idea. Being home, I know this snowstorm we're supposed to get tonight. I don't want it. I can't shovel. I can't lift more than 10 pounds. I can't stress my body out at this time. And I know I have great neighbors. I know they'll take care of me, and my son will do what he can. My wife will do that. But I don't want them to overextend themselves either. I hate not being able to do my job as a husband. But I'm just hoping this whole thing blows over or pushes south, because I don't need this. I need sunshine and baseball. So, but that's all I got today. So, I just want to thank everybody for your prayers and your thoughts, and I really do appreciate all your messages on Facebook for me. It's been a pleasure, and I love all you guys, and love me or hate me. I just want you to know that no hard feelings, no matter what. It's new leaf time. It's spring. Let's turn over new leaves, and let's do things the right way the first time, and get back into God, and treat Him like He needs to be treated too, and thank Him for all He's done for me, and pulling me through this. So, if anybody has any questions about what I went through, I'll be more than willing to share. And the more I talk about it, the more I get out of my system, it's better, I think. People don't understand what it is staying in the hospital for 11 days and having 2 surgeries when you're supposed to be in for 1 surgery and be out in 3. So that extra 8-day stay was taxing. So that's all I got today. I'm going to try to eat some more, take a little snack, another half an hour or so, and then maybe have some chicken for lunch, maybe some white rice, maybe some mashed potatoes, something small, just to get my system, with some nice and easy stuff to digest. So, I'm sorry to make this video so long. I just wanted to give information to people who are wondering what exactly went on and why I was in so long, and those who didn't realize I was in that long. But it was rough. I mean, a lot of tears. I'm not afraid to admit that as a man. I mean, it's an emotional thing when you're struggling like that, and you're, it's 3 o'clock in the morning and there's no one there but yourself, and God to talk to. It's lonely, and you're in a lot of pain, and you want answers, and you can't sleep, and It's every time you do doze off, they come in to check your blood pressure. Every time you do doze off, it's time for another pain med. And it's tough. But the nursing staff, I will say, work with me tremendously. They were great people. Great people. And I couldn't ask for a better staff. So, alrighty. Everyone have a great day, and get your snow blowers out, I guess, and your shovels ready. And pray for some nice warm weather in the next couple weeks, so we get this melted, so we can get baseball season started. Because I'm excited for baseball season with my son. I cannot wait to see how he does this year. I'm also coaching his basketball team for his Red Storm. I'm excited for that. It comes up we have a practice Wednesday, which I doubt we're going to have because I think they're going to cancel school for 2 days. So, but that's all. All right, guys. Have a great day. God bless. Hug your loved ones and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.